Stand by. The program will begin soon.
When I see an American flag, I immediately look at that I'm like, that person's probably a bigot. That person's probably a homophobe. That person's probably a racist if they're just flying American flags out everywhere.
Hold up. Hey, this sounds more like a you problem. You should probably go see somebody about that.
We got over $5 million per year from the American taxpayers, being given no bid contracts from Maine Governor Janet Mills, and is building a military in Somalia. He has been funneling money back to Somalia to build a military in Somalia. The guy is running a migrant services agency that bills Maine Care, which is what we call Medicaid, about $5 million a year. Oh no, those illegal immigrants aren't getting any Medicare. And then he said he raised money in the U.S. to buy weapons, munitions, and supplies for a paramilitary force he had hoped to lead as the president of Jubaland. Yes, that's a real state in Somalia. And to be clear, in Somalia, he's running to be the warlord of Jubaland. Elections in Jubaland aren't exactly like elections in America. It's whoever has the most guns is able to certify the election. So he needed to buy a paramilitary organization and paramilitary support in order to win the election. Avocados Diablos asked if you could bring any one comic strip character to life and train them to be a hitman, who would you choose? Oh, that's the easiest question ever. Calvin. Calvin. Oh, look, Stop Double Nation, you and I are on the same page. Calvin. From Calvin and Hobbes. Yes. And by God, Calvin would be the greatest hitman to ever live. Better than John Wick. I guarantee it. I didn't have to think of it.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
Yes, it's true. The Obama administration deported over 3 million people. And the Biden administration, over 4 million people. But they didn't need troops. They didn't need military in the streets to do it. Tell me why. Put it in the chat. Tell me why you think that's that.
Because when Obama and Biden were in office, there were no riots in the streets of Los Angeles, even though 80% of the deportations were also expedited with no hearing. But you didn't give a shit then. Now that Trump's in office, you suddenly give a shit. Hope that helps.
That turkey was amazing. Mostly because I cooked it, because I'm really good at cooking turkey. So one of my tricks that new tricks that I do, you know how when you cook a turkey in a pan, even if you got one of those raised pans, it always happens. You cook this turkey and the breast of the turkey get all nice, the top gets all nice and brown, and then you go to cut the underside and the thighs and legs are like all white underneath and not even done. Well, there's a trick you can do to avoid that. What you do is you cook the bird upside down for at least 1/3 of the cooking time. So you end up browning the bottom and sealing that first, even more so. And the other thing I do is I start my oven at 500 degrees. The first 45 minutes to an hour, you put it at 500 degrees, and then you turn it down to 325 and do the rest of the cooking. But anyway, do it upside down, and 1/3 of the way through, then you flip the bird back over in the pan, and the entire bird gets finished at the same time. So apparently, in the Europe, you can refer to Americans as pigs. but not convicted rapist. A German court gives woman harsher punishment than convicted. I hate it when people say rapist. I'll just say unwanted sexual activity peoples for calling him a disgraceful pig. She called someone convicted of that crime a disgraceful pig and got a harsher punishment than the person who actually committed unwanted sexual activity. And so that's why people were posting that story about the German court gives women harsher punishment than convicted unwanted sexual activity.
Stand by. The program will begin soon.
There's a story about this man too. He led the attack on Pearl Harbor but died a Christian missionary on December 7, 1941. Captain Mitsuo Fuchida flew the lead plane against Pearl Harbor, shouting the famous code, Tora, Tora, Tora. He hated America. But after the war, he met a former American POW, Jacob DeSager, who had returned to Japan not to punish him, but to preach the gospel. Shocked by this forgiveness, Fuchida bought a Bible. He converted to Christianity in 1950. The man who started the Pacific War spent the rest of his life touring the U.S. and Japan preaching. Quote, I was a follower of the sword. Now I'm a follower of the cross. Amazing. Nearly 5 years after pipe bombs were discovered outside the headquarters of the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee in Washington, D.C., a suspect has been arrested in the case. On Thursday, federal agents arrested Brian Cole Jr., 30 of Woodbridge, Virginia, and he was charged with transportation of explosive devices, blah, 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 blah. But on Friday, legacy media outlets began reporting that Cole, this young black man right here, was a Trump supporter. And I'm not saying he's not because he's black. I'm just saying there's other evidence that might support the fact that he's not a Trump supporter. But we'll get to that. Quote, Brian Cole worked for a bail bonds company run by his father that worked to free illegal immigrants from ICE facilities and sued the Trump administration's Department of Homeland Security. He worked for his dad. They tried to free illegal immigrants. Interesting. Yes, I know every Trump supporter, every black supporter, Trump supporter, would be quick to hire Benjamin Crump, who represented the family of Trayvon Martin, attempting to sic the Biden administration Department of Justice on a local Tennessee prosecutor who had raised concerns about the bail bond companies. We'll find out eventually that this guy had wanted nothing to do.
Additionally, if you open this up to ice fishing, while on the surface it sounds good, then what happens next year? Does someone come back and say, I want an ice shanty on Hudson Springs Park for X amount of time? And if you then allow ice fishing with shanties, then that leads to another problem. Prostitution. And now you've got the police chief and the police department involved. Just data points to consider.
It is Happy Bill of Rights Day on December 15, 1791. The Commonwealth of Virginia ratified the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments to the U.S. Constitution. George Mason and James Madison were the driving forces behind these guarantees of individual rights. And note that all the individual rights that are in the Bill of Rights are not rights granted by the government. Those are the inalienable rights which the government shall not infringe. And if you notice, it's interesting because the Bill of Rights is all about what the government cannot do, not what the government can do. And I think kind of got away from that a little bit, where some people seem to think that the government is going to grant you rights. No, these are rights you have, whether there's a government or not, and the rights that the government must protect for you. So it was a unique thing when it came about in 1791. that government is not there to grant you or give you privileges, but rather to protect the rights that you have.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, the one and only PDawgKnight.
Well, this is unusual, as you may have figured out. I'm here on time for once. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I'm your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight, on the internet, also known as Grandpa since 2022, and also known as the guy who's about to get one of those done. Another one. I'm getting another one. Another shank in my femur. Metal shank. They cut off the top of my finger and shove a metal shank down it. And they put a ball on top and make a fake ceramic whatever socket and pop them together. You know how it goes. I'm ready. I am ready. I'm ready because my fucking hip is killing me. So anyway, looking forward to my hip replacement. If you have any questions about that, should I just do a Q&A strictly about the hip replacement? I've done it before, or maybe we'll just talk about it at the end of the show. I'm not going to do a Q&A for it. Yeah, there's plenty of news, but I think this is my most important news, which means I will not be here tomorrow or Thursday, maybe not Friday. I should be back by Monday, which is, Yeah, this is my second. Yeah, I'm decrepit. Actually, I was born, and some people says, oh, this is your second. You must be really decrepit then. No, I just have, when I had my first one done, I was like, my doctor, because I've been playing sports all my life. I thought, okay, it's wear and tear. And he goes, no, you have very shallow hip sockets. And that's a problem. It's a genetic thing. And unfortunately, my son has it too. So he's already at 30. I mean, he's having some hip problems, not as severe as mine, but it's just apparently, it just runs in my family, or at least in members of my family. I'm not the first to get a hip replacement, and I'm not going to be the last. So it's just one of those things, there's two things. Someone said it before, bottom surgery. That's funny. That's some funny shit. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm set up for tomorrow, 6 a.m. I got to be at the surgery center, and they'll basically knock me out, cut a big hole in the side of my hip, and start sawing away at that femur, and then they take the socket and they jam this thing in there, and then they put it in with screws, and then they pop the socket together. First they jam the spike down my femur. Thankfully, I'm asleep during all that, because that would just suck. So anyway, for the next at least 8 to 10 weeks, I'll be home doing nothing. I can't work because I work a very physical job, and can't work a physical job when you have a hip replacement, because the worst thing you can do when you have a hip replacement is knock it out of socket after the hip replacement. So you have to be very careful. So for at least 4 weeks, I can't even drive a car, just because the way you sit and because of having to move your leg. That's a no-no. So I'm be homebound whenever Lady Boomer's around to drive me somewhere. So that sucks. So anyway, thank you, Avocados Diablo, dropping the first deuce plus 23 in the tip jar, also known as a small bullet, and you are now the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day. Thank you, sir. Who says, here's hoping they don't accidentally give you a lady's hip, because that would be a bit awkward. I don't know if there's a distinction between the hardware, because they're not giving you like the new hip. They're just basically taking the socket that's there. They're putting a piece of metal in there, and then they put a piece of ceramic inside that, and then the ball that's attached to the femur goes inside there. I don't know that there's, it's basically, I'm a large human being. They probably gave me the size large, And that's that. So yeah, I don't know. It would be weird though, because then I would be able to twerk easier if they'd give me a women's hip. But I don't do a lot of twerking anyway. Also, thank you, Kara Shoulder, dropping a deuce in this tip jar. Greatly appreciated. Whoops. And who says, Marty, just remember, you're getting your hip replaced. You won't become the bionic man. You're too old with way too many other issues. Well, yes and no. See, other than my hips, I'm a very healthy human being. For someone who doesn't exercise a lot anymore, like I used to cycle a lot. I mean, I did several cross-state tours when I was younger and shit like that. Recreational tours, not races, but just like, there's one really fun ride that goes across Iowa every year called Ragbri. It's the Des Moines Register's Great Bicycle Ride Across Iowa. And it's about usually 500 miles over 7 days. And you just ride across the state through farmland, and you go in all these little towns and they have beer gardens and pancake breakfasts and, pop-up food trucks and shit. I used to do that all the time. I did about 4 times, and I've also did one across Minnesota. I've done one across Wisconsin. I used to do MS 150 rides all the time on the weekends. I'd ride probably, a couple 100 miles a week. And when I was cycling avidly, and I was an athlete in high school and college too, but I had a heart rate of like 55. Like that was my standing heart rate, which is fairly low. And, we were doing a heart rate before this, and I haven't done any exercise at all other than walking occasionally for the last couple of years since I got my hip replaced. And, we went in to do my pre-op physical, and my heart rate was still only 60. So that's pretty good. I mean, it sounds average, but for someone my age, you'd think it'd be a little bit higher, And my blood pressure's always been fairly low, like slightly below what other people do, like in a good, perfect, almost a perfect range for me. So yeah, I don't have any issues with, thank God, no issues with the cancers or polyps or anything like that. I'm a fairly healthy person, but my hips sucked because they're shallow hips, so it hurt. Anyway, pom-poms don't count as athletics. Listen, mister. When you have a 140-pound cheerleading partner and she is rock solid. She's not fat at all. She's just solid muscle, and she's 5'8". And since I'm 6'4", my stunt partner was 5'8", 140 pounds. If you can take a woman 140 pounds and throw her from the ground above your head and catch her on your one hand above your head, you can tell me who's the athlete. Okay. Well, actually, she was too. Both of us. She was a gymnast too. She was really strong. So she's so fun to have as a cheerleading partner. But I always got the, when we were getting stunt partners, I'd always get the bigger girls because I was a big, strong guy. So yeah, you watch some of these cheerleading competitions they're doing stunt contests, and tell me if they're athletes or not. So there. Anyway, thank you guys for sponsoring the show. That's great. If you want to sponsor the show, if you haven't shared the show, well, I'm moving that stupid thing because I need every day. Tip jar is very important now that I'm not working for 8 to 10 weeks. So you can hit the link that's pinned at the top of the chat if you want to sponsor the show, or you can do super chats through YouTube. I don't care which way you do it. It's just easier for me if you do it my way, but if you do it their way, that's fine too. So there you go. All right. You were a glorified spotter. I might have to bring a video someday. I think I have photos of me doing cheerleading stuff. Anyway. All right, let's go. Let's start the show. First, let's thank the people sharing the show. There's several of you so far, looks like. And of course, within the first couple, TC beat you to the punch. TC is first on the steering the show thing. Hang on a second. There we go. I did fix that. TC gets the bell. Yeah, you were the first one. Already reposted. Also, thank you, Somnambule Nation. We got, and then this. Wait, is that? Wait, who's that? That's what's his name? I forget his name. I haven't seen him so long. There's video. Let's see what this says. I want to hear what the video says too. What the hell is this dude's name? Someone tell me. he was pretty internet famous for a while. I haven't seen anything of him for a long time. Anyway, here, let's
eat your salad.
I don't want to.
Eat.
Okay.
Faster.
What is this?
Good boy. Eat
Okay.
your salad.
I don't want to.
That's weird. Neckbeard. Boogie, yeah, Boogie. I forgot about Boogie. I haven't seen anything from him in years. Also, thank you, Resolute Germ, showing me the hooray for the hip challenge. Thank you very much. And Mike Savage, Blarg, with a Let's Go and a Let Us Go, or that's what Let's Go's liking my Let's Go. So thank you very much, sir. And Renee Mayette, I don't know what the hell this is. I probably should get some of those. I have a walker, but it's kind of a pain in the ass. It might be easier to use crutches. So anyway, thank you for replying to the stream with Let's Go, and K-Shell and Resolute Germ and Somnambule Nation reposting my tweet of the show. So thank you very much. I appreciate all of you. Good morning also to, did I even say good morning to everybody? I stopped at the top, didn't I? Well, let's say hi to everybody else. Pope Tyrannus III, the Blessed Lich, is here with today's message of hope, not from the Father, not from the Son, but from the Holy Ghost. Today's message is blessing of the Holy Ghost. No message except to be a good lover, a good neighbor, and a good friend. But not all at the same time, because that would get weird. Just saying. Thank you, Pope Tyrannus III. Also, Jay Blizzard, JB's in the house. Thank you very much. Jay Marty's getting a jive replacement. LOL. Thank you very much. Also, TC, the Moist Tree Rat, is here. Good morning. Kara Soldier, I just said. No, I didn't. Kara Soldier is here. Also, Mike Savage Blarg is here. Thank you very much. Also, who else? Unacceptable Views, my other favorite Canadian. Hail to you too, sir. Also, good morning too. As I scroll down, Attack Alpaca's here. Good morning. Old Guy Gamer, here on time. Not late this time. Well, neither am I. I'm here on time for a change. And, anybody else here? I'm like, there's Renee Mayette. What's up? Good morning, my friend. And, Blue Eyed Scream. Hello. I forgot to do this, so now I have to scroll a long way. K-Shell's in the house. What up, Kirsten? Good morning. Oh, you got a new Affy on YouTube. Nice to see you. Well, whatever floats your boat. I like it. It's cute. Little, is that a little anime face there? I don't know what that is. And I said the Pope's here. Anyone else that I haven't seen yet? Oh, Anonymity T2. I'll be back. It's been a while since I've said I'll be back. I'm welcome back. And that's everyone here so far. Again, share the stream. Let people know we're here. Let's see if we can get 30 people here today. Because it's been kind of light lately. I didn't even usually I get up to 30. And I'm not even getting up to 30 anymore. So, and Somnambule Nation too. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. I don't know what that was reference to, but there you go. All right. And of course, this is kind of the picture of the procedure here. I put this out on the as my supplemental Let's Go GIF. This is kind of how it works, though. And let me see if I can make that a little bigger. I don't know if I can or not. I guess I can't. Anyway, that's basically what they do. They cut off that part of your femur. They jam a piece of metal down there. They put a ball in the end. They put a fake socket in there. And that's probably, this before here. Hang on a second. I'm gonna pause the before. Here we go. Right there. That's probably exactly what the inside of my hip looks like right now, because that red stuff is where it hurts, and it's hurting like a motherfucker right now. And so that's what happens. And then you go on farther. They cut a hole off they cut part of your femur off, right? They dig the hole out, put a piece of metal in there, then they put a piece of ceramic in there. Then they cut off the top of your femur. They jab that piece of metal down into your femur. They put a ball on the end of it, and then they pop it in the socket, and then they sew you back up. And it takes quite a while to recover from that, but it's that's how it works. So I'm excited to have it happen. It looks nasty, it looks bad, looks like that looks like it's terrible. It is such a relief. Like the first one done, and it was at the point where I was really hurting really bad, and I went in and got my surgery, and I woke up and I'm like, oh, that's what it feels like to not have pain in the joint. Now, where they cut you, there's some pain, and you take, different medicine, whatever, drugs to keep that pain away. But the joint, it was immediate relief. It was just like, oh, well, it's partially because it's not there anymore. It's all fake. And, now as I've had over 2 years. Well, no, it hasn't even been 2 years. It would have been 2 years in September, but I've had nearly 2 years of recovery from the first one, and it's perfect. It's like I never had a surgery, I never had a bad problem with it, And so I'm really looking forward to this. My goal, by the way, after today and my 8 weeks recovery, my goal actually is to do a cross-state bike tour in 2027. So that, which is going to take a little bit of work, because obviously I won't be able to ride probably at all this year. Maybe like September, October, I'll be able to ride again. But I have not ridden in a long time. And I said, my son just bought a bicycle, and I thought, well, what should be my goal with this surgery to really make something of it? So my goal is to go on a long bike tour with my son sometime in 2027, maybe even Ragbri. Ragbri a hoot. I'm telling you, it's the funnest bicycle. It's the reason Ragbri is fun, even though it's 500 miles over 7 days, you average about 60, 70 miles a day. It's very, very casual riding. And in fact, the group that I used to ride with, our theme during Ragbri was first bar on the right, where we would find the first open bar on the right-hand side of the road and stop for beer. And, so it's not a strenuous ride at all. It's very casual, but you have, if you ride 70 miles in over an 8-hour period, that's not very far. But we usually rode faster because we like the overnight stop towns that you stay in. They usually had, like a sound stage. They had a couple stages. They'd have bands playing. They'd have beer gardens. They'd have, food venues and all this stuff. And basically every town is a party. So it's we used to like to call it Woodstock on wheels. Maybe not as much drugs, no brown acid, but there's lots of beer and lots of alcohol, and it's fun. So it's fun. All right, let's casual riding sounds like a euphemism. Well, yeah, in my day, never mind. I'm not going to talk about that. Anyway, so let's get into some news here. Let's see. I'm going to stop that, move that. Okay. Let's start with, every day is a holiday, by the way. And so let's see what's to celebrate today. There's nothing specific that popped up on X like usually. But today, good Lord. Good Lord. I did not even look at this. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are celebrating a little bit of Rocky Road ice cream. Yes, it's National Rocky Road Day. Now, I don't know whoever came up with the concept of Rocky Road ice cream, but thank God that they're alive, or they were alive. Indulge in the deliciousness of National Rocky Road Day. Enjoy your favorite ice cream flavor with marshmallows, nuts, and chocolate. I love me some Rocky Road ice cream. I don't know who came up with it, but God bless them. Also, National Leave the Office Early Day, which is kind of what all of you do every day. National Rotisserie Chicken Day. Hey, drop by a Sam's Club or what's Costco, or does BJ's, what do they call it? BJ's Wholesale Club. They have chickens too, because both Sam's Club and Costco have the $4.95 chickens that they're always going to sell for $4.95. It's cheaper to get a rotisserie chicken from Sam's Club or Costco than it is to get just a regular chicken, like an uncooked chicken. And part of the reason they do that, that's their loss leader, and people go in there just to buy the chickens, and you go in to buy a $4.95 chicken, that's already cooked to perfection, and you leave with after spending $200. And you're like, wait a minute, I came to get a $4.95 chicken. How the hell did I spend $200? Well, then you stocked up on paper towels and toilet paper, and then you saw that the 40 pack of bottled water, and then you're like, oh, I need some of that, and then then you saw a big ass bag of pistachios. You're like, oh, those look good, I'm gonna get some of those. And then you saw a frying pan over there, and like, well, my frying pan's kind of, let me grab one of these. And then you're like, oh, well, I need some more pens. You got a 50 pack of pens, and by the time you leave, it's $200. It just is, Now personally, that's funny you mentioned that. Unacceptable views. Funny you mentioned. He said unacceptable views says lack of self-control. Actually, me myself, I am very disciplined when I go to Sam's Club. I go with a list and I get what's on the list. If I need some eggs, a rotisserie chicken, and some butter, that's what I leave with. Now, the problem is, often my lovely bride, Lady Boomer, wants to go to Sam's Club when I go. Well, do you care if I go with you? Can I go with you? And then it becomes a 2-hour excursion. and often she'll put something in the cart and it's like, oh, I don't really need that. I'll take it back. But that's when it becomes, a problem. Lists schmists. We don't need no stinking list. No, I absolutely do. I go there because I can go there and I need one thing and I will go get that one thing. No problem. Anyway, it's also National Love My Dentist Day, which is not celebrated in Great Britain. National Bubba Day. Bubba. If you got a friend named Bubba, just let them know it's their day. National Janice Day. Janice, if you know someone named Janice. National First Ladies Day. And they have a picture of Hillary Clinton and Michelle Obama. I'm not sure why we celebrate first ladies, but you know what? Okay, they serve their purpose, I guess. National Republic. Now, this is Republic Day in Italy. American Indian Citizenship Day. On American Indian Citizenship Day to learn the history and contributions of Native Americans to our nation's culture. Platinum Jubilee Bank Holiday. That's some British shit. I don't care about those British bank holidays. I don't care. All right, that's the holidays for today. Thank you. Everyone has something to celebrate. Oh, also, something else to celebrate today. It is Judge Jeanine Pirro's birthday. Aww. Happy birthday to Judge Jeanine. President Trump wrote this for her birthday. Today is Judge Jeanine Pirro's birthday. She is the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia and has done a fantastic job. Respected by everyone, even the radical left lunatics. He can't help himself. Thank you, Jeanine, and happy birthday, President Donald J. Trump. There you go. So yeah, there's lots of people, doing that. Oh, and this says here, this is Jeanine Pirro posting. This is a quiz. How many dogs are in the picture? And do you notice any new dogs? Well, I don't know how many dogs you had in the first place. I see, holy shit, there's like 7 dogs in there. Hang on, let's blow this up a little bit. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 puppy dogs in the picture. It's the ones outside. So there you go. No bangers and mash for P-Dawg, LOL. Oh no, there's an Irish pub up the street. I can get bangers and mash. So we don't need no stinking Great Britain to have some bangers and mash. All right, moving on to other news. Let's start getting the feature headlines that I found this morning as I opened up X, the app formerly known as Twitter. Apparently there's a city called Battleground, Washington. And it became a little bit of a rhetorical, a rhetorical battleground for some reason, because they decided to pass an ordinance in Battleground, Washington. Battleground, Washington. Battleground passes a pro-ICE and anti-Antifa proclamation amid the protest. There's been protests all over the place. In Battleground, Washington, the city council meeting Monday night approved 2 proclamations. One backing ICE and another recognizing Antifa as a domestic terrorist group per a 2025 Trump executive order. Tensions peaked when protesters interrupted the mayor, leading to removals and an arrest of a demonstrator's partner. Wait, was the demonstrator's partner not demonstrating, or were they just, why a demonstrator's partner and not just a demonstrator? Anyway, supporters, including a legal immigrant, Paula, and a local resident, praised the moves for upholding the law and rejecting political violence, capping weeks of debate in the conservative town near Portland. I'm shocked. Now, yeah, Battleground is, I think, just north of Portland, across the border from Portland. So here, breaking, the City Council of Battleground, Washington has signed a proclamation officially recognizing the federal government's designation of Antifa as a terrorist organization. Antifa members interrupted Mayor Overholser, resulting in removal and arrest. So here's one of the people that...
as a domestic terror organization and affirming the importance of public safety. Point of privilege, Mayor.
Fuck you.
Mayor, in motion for recess
fuck
of
you.
2 minutes.
Second.
Motion passed.
So there weren't too many protesters there, it looks like.
I'll stand right here, please. I'll stand right here.
Mr. Mayor, there was no vote on that motion, sir.
All right, we have a motion and a second to recess of 2 minutes. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Recess for 2 minutes.
All right, so the motion passed unanimously, but they're not leaving. Now, I'm not sure. Okay, oh, hang on. This is one of those things where I have to refresh the whole freaking thing. Hang on a second, because I want to hear this. I want to hear the arrest. I mean, the fuck you. Yeah, such a well-spoken protest. Fuck you. Yeah, that's true.
Antifa is a domestic terror organization.
Come on. Let's go back to about... this is about where we were. Now, it was a pretty mild protest. And I don't know that they needed to remove her. Now, if she had continued screaming and yelling, I see why they would have removed her from the room. But let's see.
Aye. Any opposed?
I mean, only 2 people there protesting is pretty mild for anything near Portland, I'd say.
You guys want to go to the back? Go ahead.
Hold on. There's no need to get physical. Why don't we try to de-escalate the situation?
I'm a citizen and I'm allowed to fucking be here. Say whatever the fuck I want to say. Fuck you, you're a fucking fascist piece of shit. Fuck you. Fascist, fuck. All of you are fascist pieces of shit. You're gonna fucking all go to hell, motherfuckers. Fuck all of you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Shame on you, motherfuckers. Fascist, fuck.
I hear that someone's being asked to leave, right? No one's asked me to leave. I'm just trying to make sure that everybody stays calm and fucking rational, right?
Oh, dude. The other one's a dude. It took me a second. I heard that voice. I'm like, who's talking? It's the other dude in the dress.
I know, my guys.
So, pretty mild protest, I gotta say. Anyway, what up, Brent Hayes? Good morning. So, and then Andy No put up something here. What did he put up? It's probably the same thing. Yeah, that's where they got the video from. They got it from Post Millennial. So I put Andy No's version of it. But I gotta tell you, it's a pretty mild protest. 2 people, maybe 3. I think this guy might have been with them. But a short fuck you. Now, so, I'd ignored it and just gone on with the vote. And then if she was continually disrupted, whatever. But I'm not sure that rise to level of removal from the meeting. But maybe they were told to shut the fuck up, and if they had any outbursts, they would be. All right. Second story today that's prominent, and it's been prominent over the last few days, but I'm finally talking about it. It has to do with the man over in Southampton who was stabbed the police arrested him when he was stabbed, and then he died while in police custody because he was stabbed, and they didn't seem to note it. Hello, Annalyn, by the way. So this man who's a Sikh, which I don't know why the religions are that important, but he was jailed. He got life sentence in a student stabbing because the police body cam, which showed the footage of what happened, apparently sparked some outrage. On December 3rd, this is from December 3rd, 2025, but the trial was just recently. 18-year-old University of Southampton student Henry Nowak was stabbed 4 times by a 23-year-old Vikram Digwa after filming him with a ceremonial Sikh knife on Southampton Street. Sentenced to life with a 21-year minimum on June 1st, Digwa had chased Henry and lied to police, with his brother falsely claiming a racist attack. Body cam footage shows officers ignoring Henry's desperate pleas, handcuffing him despite his wounds, while Digwa was not restrained. Henry's father called the contrast unbearable and demanded a full police probe. The case has drawn sharp criticism from figures like Nigel Farage and Elon Musk. I know it's Nigel, but I like to call him Nigel. Over policing and knife exemptions. So, the fact that Nick Fuentes is all over this makes me reluctant to cover it, but it happens. So, the guy, the kid was filming and he saw the guy with this knife, and they got into a verbal, and the guy stabbed him and then told the police that he had made a racist attack on the Sikh guy. But later camera footage showed that, surveillance camera around the area showed that the guy there was no, what he described was bullshit. So now the guy gets a life sentence with possibility of parole at 21 years. So that's a big story over the last week. I haven't followed it that closely, but whatever. What about the cops who let him die? Yeah, that's the problem. The cops let him die. He told him he's been stabbed. The cops handcuffed him. And, where's the body cam footage? Someone has the body cam footage, I think. That's why it's become such a big deal. Benny Judge, this is the most important image on the internet right now. Henry Nowak's handcuffed, pale due to loss of blood. He's dying. The demonic hands of the British authorities are restraining him as they coddle his migrant murderers. Henry bleeds out as UK cops and migrants insult him. So lots of people talk about it. Farage talking about it. This is a fucked up case. Let's just put it that way. And lots of people talking about it. So that was popped up. Also, let's see, what is this? Oh, and Henry Nowak himself is here. Here's the this is the body cam footage. And he told the police over and over he'd been stabbed. I haven't even watched this. This will be the first time me watching this. This is body cam footage.
My dad's holding it
now. Is this the body cam footage?
Right. He keeps dropping side to side, so I'm just trying to keep him set up.
Right.
He's got a mouthful of blood. I don't want him.
I can't breathe. He was on the bin on the other side of this gate.
He's jumped over these fences and stuff like that. And he's up
Move
here.
away, mate.
He's obviously fallen from there and he slipped from there.
There's other shoes left over there, mate.
What's your name, mate? Huh? Has anyone been hurt other than him?
Yeah, me. He's grabbed my brother. He's took my turban off, started grabbing my head.
Are you injured?
Yeah, I've got swollen eye, a little bruise.
Alright, just step back a little bit for me. Someone flag these down.
Got this stud.
Right, let's get you out of there, shall we? Oh.
I was in bed asleep. Whenever we just find me up there, look, someone just...
He's telling him
grab his other arm. What's happened to you, alright? You've been stabbed? Whereabouts? I don't think you have, mate.
Not even investigate that he'd been stabbed. That's the crazy part.
Hand?
I can't breathe.
Put the hand in the cuff, mate.
Yeah.
This is like new times this has happened to us. You've been walking, you can't.
Now I wonder if I'll get flagged for showing this, because I guarantee you that none of the videos showing other incidents have been
taken down. So I'm curious.
But
Nothing happened.
Wait, a Tallarico ad on my stream? Are you kidding me? Hey, okay, quick question, because I don't know what it looks like. Is it covering my stream or is it off to the side of my stream? Like, can you still watch my stream while the ad's running? That's what it said it's supposed to be doing. I'm not sure how that works, so anyway.
He's saying he's been stabbed, so
Where
let's
is it
just
you
check
think
him.
you've been stabbed? In the face? Oh no, but we have to check, don't we?
Right.
In the face?
Just get these back off, get their details on that, and I'll keep hold of him.
Should we
No, keep you on your side, mate. You better retrieve then. I'm saying to him, I'm keeping him on his side. We were set up when we had
The stream
him,
cuts to the ad, like, but it's on the side of the stream, or is it covering? Oh, that's fucked up. I'm going to turn that off after this week, because I don't make enough money from ads anyway, so I don't give a shit.
What's your name, mate? At the moment, you are under arrest. That's for assault, so you do not have to say anything. May harm in defence if you do not mention when questioned. It's up to which you later rely in court. Anything you do say may be given in evidence. All right?
He's saying he's been stabbed, and they're not checking to see if he's been stabbed. They're not even. Where have you been stabbed? How about you ask that question? Jesus. Anyway, you get the point here. We don't need to show anymore. Apparently, as of June 1st, 2026, 0 stories on the AP about Henry Nowak, the guy who died. 0 stories from PBS on Henry Nowak. 0 stories from the New York Times. Now, granted, this hadn't been in Great Britain, so we don't get every story. 0 story on NPR, 0 Wall Street Journal, 0 CNN, 0 Washington Post, 0 on Reuters, 0 on MSDNC. Not a single story about this. Now, maybe it's because it was over at R, or maybe it's just because it's just not the right... just not the right story that they would cover. Fascinating. All right. Next story. Here's something that's interesting. This is a feature story on X today. Apparently the schools in New Orleans, since Katrina, have improved immensely. New Orleans schools rise from Katrina's ruins to a national leader. After the 2005 storm, Louisiana took over the struggling New Orleans Parish District, firing underperforming staff and shifting to mostly charter schools with open choice. Students now advance 1.35 grade levels yearly, so more than their normal, in reading and math, landing the district in the 99th percentile nationally, per a 2026 Harvard-led scorecard. Graduation rates jumped from 54% to 79%, which doesn't sound great still, but that's a significant improvement. And the system earned its first B grade through the proficiency gap, and a tougher state rubric loom ahead. So here's someone else putting this here. New Orleans schools just proved failing schools can be fixed at scale. It became America's first all-charter school district. The results are staggering. 99th percentile nationally in reading growth, 98% in math growth. The only state in America beating pre-pandemic levels in both subjects. This is what real reform looks like. Now, this is what's interesting about this. It's not just New Orleans. Mississippi also, their school districts have improved immensely. And in fact, it's almost 100% more likely that a child in Mississippi's school systems, on average, read at a higher grade level than people in the California school systems. That's how much they've grown. Now, here's the other part, too. Now, this one says Michigan has more than 500 school districts. Florida has 67. They have double our population, a fraction of the school districts and administrators, yet they are ranked number 2 in education, while Michigan is among the worst. It's time to completely rethink education in Michigan. So, but New Orleans, here's a thread about this too. Let's check out this thread because this is important. probably how they did it. So we already read the first one here. Now, before Hurricane Katrina, the system was a disaster. Over 60% of New Orleans public schools were rated failing. Kids attended chaotic, dangerous schools where constant disruptions made real learning almost impossible. A generation was being failed by design. Then the storm hit and everything changed. New Orleans didn't tinker, it transformed. The state took over the worst schools, converted the entire district to charters, eliminated neighborhood attendance zones, and gave families real school choice. Thousands of underperforming teachers and staff were fired. Corruption and low standards were confronted directly. It was radical. It worked. The numbers don't lie. 0 failing schools today, down from 60% plus. 92% of schools now rated A or B. The district earned its highest ever grade, a B, for the entire district. These gains survived the pandemic and kept climbing. Real students are living the difference. Oscar Brown's son earned an associate's degree at the rebuilt neighborhood high school before receiving his high school diploma. His daughter's on track to graduate with a nursing certification that leads straight to a good job and college credit. Brown says it plainly. It's clear night and day difference. Schools here really dive deep into education now. What actually drove the turnaround? Autonomy for schools to innovate, accountability, bad charters can be closed quickly, family choice instead of forced neighborhood attendance, more instructional time, 16 extra days of reading, 6 extra days of math per year. Leaders credit sustained focus on results over bureaucracy and excuses. New Orleans shows that catastrophic school failure is a policy choice, not destiny. When a city demands autonomy, accountability, and results over protecting old school systems, children win. The question for the rest of America, why aren't we following what worked here? Read my full breakdown and remarkable turnaround link in the bio. Let's see where his bio is. Well, I won't find. Let's see. Rod D. Martin is his name. And we'll, I don't know which one does he wants to do here. rodmartin.org or Rod Martin premium offer. Well, let's just we'll put a link to him there. So anyway, yeah, those people who hate school choice and charter schools and things like that, who do you think they are? Who do you think hates those things the most? Teachers unions. And I don't know why. Maybe because they feel like they can get what they want from the government. Hello, Abby. What's up of Colorado? Also, thank you, Avocado Stabby. Another small bullet tip jar says, did New Orleans schools get better or did all the others everywhere else get worse? No, they got better. They absolutely got better. They were some of the, that district that they turned to all charter schools was one of the worst in the country. So even if the others got a little worse, New Orleans got way better because they're like at the top now as opposed to the bottom. So good question, though. So anyway, I'll put a separate link to that thread in the links too, if you want to share that with somebody later. Oops. There we go. And I'm curious what this is. Oh, the Rod Martin report. Oh, is that a Substack or something? I don't know what the hell that is. You can figure it out on your own. All right, let's move on because we're going to get do some quick hits and then a couple other stories, and then we'll talk about hip surgery. I know you're excited about that. Or we won't. I don't know if you have questions or whatever. So Bill Pulte, the former, the Federal Housing Finance Director, has a new position. He will be taking over for Tulsi Gabbard. President Trump has tapped Federal Housing Finance Director Bill Pulte to be the acting director of national intelligence to replace Tulsi Gabbard. Trump made the surprise announcement Tuesday on Truth Social regarding Pulte, the director of the Federal Housing Finance. I don't know why he chose Bill Pulte other than Bill Pulte's managing stuff. Putting the real estate sign and fierce Trump loyalists in a key national security post as the U.S. remains at war with Iran. Trump made the surprise announcement Tuesday on social media that Pulte would be replacing Tulsi Gabbard, the former Hawaii congresswoman who had served as the director of national intelligence. Trump said Pulte will keep his other positions even as he fills in for Gabbard, who resigned last month after revealing her husband's cancer diagnosis. The Republican president cited Pulte's work with the FHFA and his role as chair of the mortgage giant Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac as indicating that his real estate work would overlap with the skills needed to coordinate 18 federal agencies tasked with foreign and domestic security. That's going to be a criticism. What does he know about national security? Well, what does he know about managing things is probably the bigger question, because those agencies basically just report to someone. And so he's a smart guy. He can get up to speed. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so that's a big story. Also trending, pray for Abraham. Speaking of Tulsi Gabbard, people are wishing well wishes to Tulsi Gabbard and her husband, Abraham, who's about to go in to have some a surgery. In fact, here's Tulsi Gabbard talking about that, saying, "We are getting ready to head to the hospital for my husband's surgery." Here's her post on X and wherever else she posted it.
Good morning. We're getting ready to head into the hospital now for Abraham's surgery. And I just wanted to take a moment and say thank you with all of our hearts to all of you who have shared such beautiful messages and prayers and well wishes for Abraham. We're truly humbled and so grateful to be surrounded by so much aloha from all of you during this very tough time. Aloha.
So there you go.
Good morning. We're getting ready to head into the hospital.
There you go. So a lot of people are wishing her well on X. Praying for Abraham is trending. And in fact, there is a prayer for cancer patients. Compassionate healer, we lift up cancer patients to you, praying for healing and comfort and strength in their journey. Surround them with your love and presence and grant them peace in the midst of uncertainty. Strengthen their bodies, minds, and spirits as they undergo treatment. Surround them with caring support and encouragement and fill them with hope for the future. Amen. Share this prayer with someone who is battling cancer or hip surgery. That's also the hip surgery prayer. The hip surgery prayer, just substitute a couple words and it'll work just fine. So, all right. Also trending, Ron Howard. Now, I'm just, whenever celebrities like Ron Howard or people who known once in a while to make a political statement here and there, are trending, you think, oh, maybe he said something nasty about Donald Trump. Well, no, that's not it. People are mentioning Ron Howard because there's a statue of Barack and Michelle Obama at the new Obama, whatever it is, presidential palace library thingy. And they're saying that the statue looks like Ron Howard, and here's why. Here's a picture of Barack Obama, and then it looks like Ron Howard's face. And this fully fits the category of I don't care. I don't care. Maybe if you look at Barack Obama and Ron Howard, they look a little bit alike anyway in some ways. I mean, granted, he's, maybe it's like Barack Obama's white half. I don't know. Good morning, Patio Furniture, by the way. Nice to have you here. So anyway, but now the real reason I wanted to mention this too is I'm a little annoyed with Benny Johnson. Now, Benny Johnson's kind of annoying anyway, even though a lot of stuff he says I agree with. But this is weird the way he posts this, and it just sounds kind of stupid to me. He says photos have leaked of Barack Obama's statue and his presidential library. Leaked? What do you mean leaked? They're everywhere. All kinds of people take pictures of it. I don't think it's leaked. But anyway, he reportedly also requested the statue be built by a black sculptor. Look how it turned out. The entire presidential center has been a DEI nightmare. Gave contacts to diverse suppliers, hired DEI construction workers. Costs exploded from $350 million to $830 million. Fighting a $40 million racial discrimination lawsuit filed by one of his own DEI hires. You really can't make this stuff up. Now, this is, to me, this is just weird framing it that way. I get it. I mean, talking about DEI is all the rage, and oh my God, he hired a black sculptor. Well, so what? Actually, the sculpture, if you look at it from this perspective, like the down here, it looks pretty like normal. I mean, I'm not a fan of either of these people. But what is wrong with the sculpture? Have you ever tried to make a sculpture like this? Like, there's a place that I go by that's Ecolab. Ecolab is near where I used to work, right? Their headquarters. And they had a statue of the founder of Ecolab. Okay, it's a big, like, bronze-looking sculpture, right? And I'm like, I'm sure that looks a lot like the guy, because they got the crease in his pants and the weird fold, when your pants cuff sits on your shoe, they had that and everything. It was a really nice sculpture. And this sculpture, I would say, is a really nice sculpture of a human that of who's lived, right? It's how hard it is to make faces look exactly like them. I think it's fairly close enough. If you look at this and you go into the Barack Obama building, that's what you know who it is. I don't know why he had to bring up the DEI and the black sculptor and this and that. Now, the fact that they went way over budget doesn't shock me at all, because it is a Democrat. But I'm sure they had problems with the fact that he's being got a racial discrimination lawsuit against him. That's classic. I love it. It's hilarious. But yeah, I don't know, Betty. I'm not sure what your point was there. Anyway, so that's that. Also trending. Sesame Street. So Sesame Street. Oh my God. Can anybody here tell me? Let me just take this off the screen for a second. Can anyone here tell me, and just say it in the chat, what demographic is the television show PBS Sesame Street geared toward? What demographic is the television show Sesame Street geared toward? Just drop in the chat. Tell me, who is Sesame Street written for? Yes, Selected Boy. Good morning, by the way. Yeah, boy. The children. Sesame Street's for the children. And so I'm curious why Sesame Street has any business celebrating Pride Month? Happy Pride Month from Sesame Street. Join us in celebrating and uplifting the LGBTQIA+ LMNOP members of our community. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to let our young lesbian friend, Becky Weiss, say it for me. Becky Weiss has some thoughts, and I'm going to allow Becky Weiss to do the hard, heavy lifting for me.
I almost forgot that it was the start of Pride Month until I saw Sesame Street's reminder. Sesame Street wishing everyone a happy Pride Month. I'm gay and I'm also a mom, and I don't teach my child about gay pride. Because why would I? Because he's a child. Why do we need to teach toddlers about gay pride? It's about inclusivity. Not for real, I don't think so. There are about 1 million ways that you can teach about inclusivity as well as diversity without talking about sexuality or transgenderism.
And that's the point I would make. Why are we talking about sexuality and transgenderism to preschoolers? They're not ready. They don't understand it at all. I'll let you finish.
I don't need this much representation, okay? I don't need to see gays on Sesame Street to feel good about myself, okay? Sesame Street is not for the gays. Sesame Street is for toddlers to learn how to count their numbers and to learn their colors and to learn how to be good friends, not to learn what it means to be in a homosexual relationship. Honestly, it's going to be a long month.
So, thank you, Becky Weiss. Oh, good Lord. Oh my God. Pride Month in the Sesame Street AIDS ward. Oh, good Lord. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to. You can look that one up yourself. It's in the link. Trust me. Thank you, Carousel, for dropping a deuce in the tip jar. Appreciate it. Dropping it. Who says, look up the Clinton Library. Used to drive past it for 20 months and it looked like a double wide trailer, meaning it could be put on wheels and moved. Once made a joke about shoving it into the river. My dad asked why pollute the river. Oh my God. Yes. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Girl Soldier. All right. Next on the trending topics, 60 Minutes is trending. There is a big, hang on, let me just close this for a second. There's a little bit of a turf war at 60 Minutes. People are mad. It's the people, some of the people there are mad because, well, here, we'll start with Scott Pelley because there's an article in Variety about Scott Pelley being angry. 60 Minute correspondent Scott Pelley lashed out at the program's new executive producer, Nick Bolton, during a Monday meeting, accusing him of murdering 60 Minutes and having slender qualifications for his job. Oh, did they ask you to do a story that wasn't anti-Trump or something? What did they do? And Bernie Sanders took that post and said this. For the last 57 years, 60 Minutes has displayed some of the most courageous investigative journalism on the air. Now with Trump's billionaire crony David Ellison, forget that I'm a millionaire, owning CBS, that tradition has been destroyed. This is what happens with increased oligarch control over the media. Yes, Bernie Sanders' favorite word for the last 50 years, oligarch. But anyway, let's see. This is, and to get some glimpses of the quality of journalism at 60 Minutes, this is 60 Minutes. Scott Pelley wants to return to pure propaganda. Flashback to the Russian collusion hoax. Scott Pelley of 60 Minutes interviews serial liar Andrew McCabe. McCabe tells Pelley that Trump may be an agent of Russia and also insinuates that Trump is unfit for office. After the interview, Pelley and a 60 Minute producer were so proud of the interview that they did an overtime segment to praise how credible McCabe was. It was all bogus, of course, and 60 Minutes just ate it up. Serial liar and leaker McCabe pushed the Steele dossier. He was caught lying numerous times. When he was caught lying to federal agents, his excuse was that he was distracted. By the way, after being fired for lying, McCabe sued the DOJ. Merrick Garland's Justice Department gave him at least $700,000. Yeah, I don't care. Oliver Darcy. I thought he was gone and buried, this jackass. Media reporter Oliver Darcy says some CBS insiders no longer believe the upheaval at 60 Minutes is simply a management dispute they believe is connected to a much bigger prize. According to Darcy, insiders are drawing a direct line between the dismantling of 60 Minutes and David Ellison's effort to secure government approval for a major media merger. The theory goes like this. 60 Minutes has become one of the most politically sensitive properties in American media. Oh, is it? That's interesting. Hold on a minute. It's a politically sensitive property? Now, why would that be? I thought they were just doing investigative journalism. Just shoes hit the road and we do just right down the middle journalism. But it's a politically sensitive property? I wonder why that is. Amazing. Anyway, remove the friction, remove the controversy, remove the headaches, and it becomes easier to get a deal approved. To be clear, this is what insiders are alleging, not a proven fact, but that's why the firings, departures, and internal revolt of 60 Minutes are generating so much attention, because the question is no longer why were these journalists pushed out. The question some inside CBS are now asking, who benefits from 60 Minutes becoming less confrontational? And in media, that's usually where the real story begins. Well, yes, it's all Trump's fault, I'm sure, because Ellison is a friend of Trump. So, Scott Pelley. Oh, and here's Scott Pelley killed 60 Minutes. Not Barry Weiss, not Nick Bolton. Pelly did a 60 Minutes puff piece on fraudster Steven Donziger, ignoring the red flags because Donziger was attacking and suing Chevron, an oil company. Pelly's fake report is still on the 60 Minutes website. He has never corrected the record or let viewers know Donziger has been found guilty of fraud and bribery of the judge and spent time in federal prison. Pelly says Weiss has no experience. Pelly has plenty of experience pushing falsehoods. He should apologize to Weiss, Bilton, and the 60 Minutes interviewer. So there's friction over at 60 Minutes, and gee, I'm in the category of, wait a minute, where is it? Where is it?
I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care.
Fuck him. Next on the, Sunny Hostin is trending. Now this is interesting. So we've been talking a lot about the Nazi tattooed Graham Plattner running for the Senate as a Democrat in the state of Maine. And Sunny Hostin, you know what? Sunny Hostin's not a fan. She's breaking ranks, and that's rare. Here's Sunny Hostin from The View, which now granted doesn't mean that's a smart take. It just means she might have, she's not a broken clock. She's a clock that you haven't replaced the battery in for 17 years. Anyway, here we go. Sunny Hostin.
This man should be nowhere near Congress. We've already got a wealth of people we need out. Yeah. We're not sending one like this in.
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wait. By the way, she says some of the right things, but wait do you hear how she finishes this, by the way. I can't, I was giving her too much credit. I'm just am. Just listen carefully.
Thank you.
I am conflicted. They asked Cory Booker how he felt about this because I think all the allegations are true. The sexting with other women while married is definitely true because his wife is the person that gave the messages to his campaign to give them a heads up. Yeah. So the fact now that he's saying that part is not true.
I think she said that he had she told them campaign but we haven't seen messages.
But she disclosed it. Right. Yeah, so why would she lie about that? So that part is true. He's also made racist remarks about against African Americans. So he's a cheater. He's an anti-Semite because the fact that he had that tattoo for 20 years and didn't know what it was is a lie. So he's a liar, a racist, an anti-Semite.
Homophobe.
He's a homophobe.
Yeah. Wait
so
for
he's
it.
all the things, and character does matter. But we have someone that has almost unbridled power in the White House at this point. There are no checks and balances. And the only way that we can maybe bring a bit of our democracy back is by having a Congress that functions and that has these checks and balances. And I do think one of the only ways is to win that seat in Maine. And so like Cory Booker said, this is a concern. But our country is in grave
There are other paths,
peril.
and they don't have to go through Maine.
I'm not.
We'll see
not
what
convinced.
happens.
So, I mean, I suppose I kind of give Trump grace too, but I don't think he's that shitty. They try to make him that shitty, but he's not that shitty. My God. Holy shit. All right. So, let's see. Now, speaking of Graham Platt. Oh, no, that's not him. Well, let's just... Now, all right. So now, I just got a bunch of articles I opened. And I usually never have time to get to articles, but by God, it's not even close to the time I normally end the show. And I'm not even on the time limit today, but I'm going to limit my time because I've got a lot of shit to do before my surgery. But let's start here. I haven't talked a lot about this Delaney Hall thing either. Excuse me. So there have been riots outside this Delaney Hall, this detainment facility. And by the way, so a lot of these people are saying, oh, these are concentration camps. These are like the gulags. These are like that. The average stay at these detention centers, 45 days. Like they basically get them there and send them out. They go away, send them to be deported. So it's not like a concentration camp where someone's going to be there for years, starving or whatever. But apparently some of the prisoners, according to who, I'm not sure, are having a hunger strike. Okay. And to which when you're only going to be somewhere 45 to 60 days, your hunger strike doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot. But anyway, there have been protests outside this, and it's at night. The protests during the day, riots at night. Well, the New Jersey police arrested Antifa rioters at ISIS Delaney Hall. New Jersey police scooped up the Antifa rioters blocking ISIS Delaney Hall Detention Center in Newark late Sunday night. Zero tolerance for rioters, said a post from the Department of Homeland Security after the police arrested many of the Antifa rioters. So I guess they just have footage of them arresting various individuals. That one seems to be surprisingly cooperative. So that's cool. What else here? Oh, this is an X post that they posted. Let's see what's on this one. Another rioter arrested. Let's see. And I'm assuming that the ones who are being arrested for throwing things or whatever, assault, and because they aren't just arresting people for protesting. The people who are just on the other side of the street protesting, they're not arresting all of them. So, which is whatever. DHS officials displayed their success in shutting down the rioters who have harassed at the ICE facility for months. And then there's they just threw a bunch of posts in here. The police intervention was made possible by New Jersey's Democratic Governor Mickey Sherrill. She cracked down on the protesters once President Donald Trump Homeland Security Chief Markwayne Mullin threatened to move customs officers out of the nearby Newark airport. Sherrill's concession was met with howls of protest from various Antifa and progressive groups in a quiet mixture of anger and acceptance from Democratic legislators. Tough action by state police drove the Antifa people away from the detention center and prompted lamentations from Antifa women. What? Here's.
Oh, we need to get out. You understand me? We made our point. If you're willing to stay, thank you, but please don't risk your life. We could come back tomorrow. We could come back any other day. You understand what I'm saying? These people are not fucking around. This is not a fucking game. There are horses coming up too as well. They're coming up right now. Let's go. Get out. Fuck. Let's go.
Oh, God. You don't need to leave.
I got word that they're locking people up tonight. At 9 o'clock, we got 20 minutes to get the fuck out of here.
Because the governor also set a curfew. No, look. When you say over dramatic, it's because she's fighting with her own people and tell them, look, there's no need to get arrested. Come back and protest tomorrow. Because they have a curfew now because there's been violence and all kinds of stuff, people getting arrested and shit. She's like, it's not worth it. Let's just go and come back and protest.
You sticking around? Do you need goggles?
Oh, I've got it.
Okay. Do you need it?
Everybody out. If you stay, you're not going to have a medic. I'm moving my medics out of here. Get out.
Where are you moving to, though?
We're leaving. We're leaving. We're out that way.
This way. They're
go that way.
Up the road. Come on.
They blocked that way.
The part of the problem is they've been blocking the facility, not letting cars in and out, trying to. There was one day where they were actually like auditing cars coming in and out to make sure there were no illegal immigrants being transported. The one point there were two Hispanic people in a car, in the back of a car, being driven out, and they start cheering because they thought they were getting out, and they find out that those are two people who actually worked at the facility, so they don't even know who they're protesting for or against necessarily. But anyway,
medics, I'm taking my medics out of here. If you're gonna stay, you're at your own risk. Get out. Listen, they're very violent. They're very violent. Okay.
No, they're not very violent. They are not tolerating your violence. There's a difference. They're not very violent. They will arrest you if you start being violent toward them.
We're not going to have any medics. I have to get my people out of here. I'm not going to risk them to get arrested. They're blocking that way. They already blocked that way. They're going to block this way. Get out. That's it. Just get out. Out.
Interesting, the person filming this is not with the protesters and probably is in disguise because the protests are not tolerant of people who are not part of their protest. Here's the ones that were yelling at Jackie Sherrill.
Mikey Sherrill, you can't run!
Mikey Sherrill.
Mikey Sherrill, you can't run! We know that you work for Trump! We know that you work for Trump! Mikey...
Yes, Mikey Sherrill, the famous Trump-supporting Democrat governor of New Jersey.
Mikey Sherrill, you can't run! Mikey Sherrill, you can't run! We know that you work for Trump! We know that you work for Trump!
Well, the enthusiasm in this crowd is amazing. I am overwhelmed with, I don't know, joy or pain. I can't remember which one. Joy and pain. Okay, enough of that. All right, so anyway, that's that. And now, by the way, let's see. Oh, this is just another writer that was arrested. It's in the article. Also, apparently, speaking of Antifa and those types of people, exclusive anti-ICE radicals plot to disrupt Turning Point's Women's Summit in San Antonio following a bomb threat arrest. Protesters at an anti-ICE demonstration at San Antonio City Hall circulated flyers calling for people to protest and disrupt the upcoming 3-day Turning Point Women's Leadership Summit. The plot to disrupt the event unfolded after a San Antonio man was arrested on Thursday for allegedly posting an online threat aimed at the Turning Point Women's Leadership Summit that read in part, "I know where to bomb." That's not good. Don't be saying that shit. They caught him, though. Saturday's anti-ICE demonstration primarily intended to protest Texas Governor Greg Abbott's and ICE's immigration enforcement activities across the state, served as a backdrop for organizers of a campaign to disrupt the planned summit. The protest comes just days after San Antonio. Wait, that's the same damn thing. It's the same line, almost twice. The protest comes just days after a San Antonio man was arrested for allegedly posting threatening comments online regarding the upcoming leadership summit. Jacob Wensaki, a 26-year-old, faces 2 felony charges after allegedly making threats against Erica Kirk. So, hey, you make, terrorist threats, you're going to get arrested, motherfucker. According to KSAT News, a court order issued warrant also cites an email from an account owned by Wensky. It's Wensky. That contained a further threat that read, "Death to Erica Kirk and every single speaker there. America will live on without those scum on this earth. Every Christian nationalist shall perish in the bombing that will take place at every single Turning Point rally and event." He's being held on a $120,000 bond. So yeah, so they're planning to go after women now. I just like saying that because, it makes them sound like shitheads, which they are shitheads. I don't, whatever. All right. PJ Media. ICE keeps finding criminals that the Democrats pretend don't exist. This is obviously somewhat editorial-like. ICE agents arrested more criminal illegal aliens over the Memorial Day period and days after, including men convicted or charged in cases involving murder, child sexual abuse, sexual battery, robbery, burglary, drug trafficking, and violent assault. Yesterday, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement arrested more public safety threats across the country, including those convicted of those. That's the same line. I'm not going to read it again. Yesterday, while ICE law enforcement arrested murderers and sexual deviants and burglars, anti-ICE rioters assaulted our federal law enforcement, said Acting Assistant Secretary Lauren Biss. Instead of thanking our brave ICE law enforcement for removing the worst of the worst from our community, sanctuary politicians continued spreading garbage about ICE facilities and political theater. These types of smears are contributing to our law enforcement officers facing more than a 1,300% increase in assaults against them as they arrest the worst of the worst. So that's, look, they're putting out what they want the public to know, that they are arresting some of the bad people, and Democrats are still trying to let them stay. In fact, here in Minnesota, I didn't talk about it yesterday, but our governor has decided to pardon. They had an emergency pardon board meeting because ICE arrested a man who had committed an armed robbery. Now, granted, it was in the late 90s or maybe early 2000s. It was a long time ago, but he was an illegal alien. He's still an illegal alien. He's here illegally, did enter the country illegally, and has remained here illegally. And he was convicted of an armed robbery back 20-something years ago. And so ICE picked him up. And, people who have a criminal record have a much less due process due to them. And so the governor has decided, had an emergency meeting of the parole board or whatever, the pardon board, and pardoned him so that he would not have that on his record. So that could not be, it would make it harder to deport him, which seems silly to me. But now the reasoning our governor gave was because the guy's been here, 25 years. He hasn't done any criminal activity since. He has a painting business, has a couple employees and a family here and whatever. But I just go, that's not a good look. Just pardoning somebody who does have the criminal record and should have been deported 20 years ago so that he can stay here now. It's an interesting case, and I think our governor's an idiot. All right. Also, in some of I've just got several articles we'll gloss over here. Speaking of anti-ICE protesters at Delaney Hall in New Jersey, anti-ICE agitator who allegedly bit officers during Delaney Hall protests was previously accused of distributing child, let's just say child materials that probably shouldn't be even thought of being made. An anti-ICE rioter who allegedly sank his teeth into federal law enforcement officers during a protest at Delaney Hall last week was previously accused of distributing child visual sexual activity. The New Jersey U.S. Attorney's Office charged Brendan John Geyer, 26, with assaulting federal officers and causing bodily injury for allegedly kicking and biting immigration and customs enforcement officers outside of the Newark Detention Center, leaving them with horrific wounds, according to Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. And when they say horrific, there's one of the bite wounds right there. Ew! Get a rabies shot, my friend. And apparently, the shithead of Madison, New Jersey, was previously charged with sexual abuse of children related to dissemination of possession of child visual materials. The Justice Department confirmed to the Post. So FTG to that little prick. And may he rot in hell if those allegations are true. Also, and then also the FBI raided and arrested the man who Nick Sorter caught on video threatening the lives of an ICE agent and his family outside ICE Newark. Nicholas Scelfo is facing federal felonies. So this is the guy they arrested this shitbag who I don't know what he did. Let's see what he did.
Come on, children, your wife all day. Put it, my boy. I have your face, motherfucker. You're dead. Dead. Voice to back up and put your stick down, because I'm about that life. You say come on? You said come on, right? Yeah, it's small now. Put your stick down. Tell your voice to back up. I'm about that life, my boy. I'm about that.
So apparently the guy is saying, I know who you are. You're dead. And he's been arrested. So that's what's happening. Now, I have several other articles open, but I want to focus. Well, no, this one's short. I'll do a couple more, but what did I do there? That's not what I want to do. There we go. All right. Now, these protests I've been saying for a while are interesting. Not just the ICE protests, but a lot of the protests that are happening around the country. And I've been telling you how, a lot of these people are out there protesting billionaires, right? And that has a lot to do with it. Saying that these immigrants, we'd rather have these immigrants, which are not immigrants because immigrants a legal process that none of them have gone through. But they'd rather have the immigrants than the billionaires, right? The billionaires who actually hire and are responsible for the jobs in America. And I don't give a fuck about a billionaire. If a billionaire has a lot more than me, I don't care. It doesn't stop me from having what I have. But anyway, there's a little bit of these protests are being funded. The protests are being funded by some of these billionaires. And these people just don't seem to realize it. Well, there's an interesting phenomenon happening. There's a little bit of feud between some of the billionaires. There's an article in City Journal, Feuding Communist Millionaires Reveal a Secret Network Powering America's Radicals. Recent rant from Cox Media heir Fergie Chambers shows where Congress should focus its next investigation. Now, this is fascinating. Someone named Jim, and they call him Fergie. I don't know why. Does he sing national anthems really bad, or does he, is he a fan of the Black Eyed Peas? I don't know why. Or, maybe the redheaded Duchess of what's her face? Former, whatever. Anyway, Jim Fergie Chambers, the communist millionaire, which sounds like an oxymoron, but, he's pushing communism, then maybe he thinks he'll be in charge, because if you're a lot of these people who press communism usually are like Nepo babies or don't really have jobs, but they've inherited money. And yeah, he's the heir to the Cox Media Group. So he doesn't want to ever have a job, but he's suddenly a communist. But then these people who want to be communists, if they succeed, they want to be the ones in charge so they can still be millionaires. You know what I mean? So anyway, the communist millionaire and heir to the Cox Media fortune has long bankrolled one of the nation's most militant protest networks. But in recent weeks, he has turned his fire on a putative ally, Shanghai-based tech billionaire Neville Roy Singham, who himself funds a transnational web of far-left groups. Now, what's going on here? Well, in a series of X posts, Chambers alleged that Singham's network of nonprofits and activist groups has tried to redirect insurgent organizing into tightly controlled institutions linked to the Party for Socialism and Liberation, the PSL, a U.S.-based revolutionary communist party. Chambers sees Singham's operation as turning their back on direct actionists, implying that Singham prefers exercising control over the movement to enabling the sort of serious radicalism that Chambers endorses. So is this okay? Let me ask you something. Does this kind of sound like the struggles that, they always like to harken back to 1939, right? Or 1930s Germany. Does this kind of like the struggle between the communists and the socialists in Germany? I'm just saying. They keep comparing the right to the communists, or to the Nazis or whatever, but this sounds like that. The conflict between the two is in part another example of the left's tendency to collapse into infighting. But more importantly, Chambers' criticism offers a rare public window into the inner workings of the Singham Network, one of the radical left's most effective and prolific organizing operations. And in its surfacing of importance of the PSL to that network, Chambers' X commentary highlights a potent target for policymakers looking to dismantle Singham's influence operation. Chambers is one of the main funders of America's radical left. His money has flowed to a host of projects in the anti-imperialism organizing space. These include a recent $1 million Ramadan donation to Palestinian causes, including a group that advances terrorist-sympathetic messages in America's schools. Oh, yippee! Chambers claims that he and Singham are effectively the two primary financiers of the U.S. radical left. Despite this, the two have apparently been at loggerheads, a conflict that has now gone public. They don't like each other. Because look, I know why. Because when it's all said and done, if they are effectively, are successful in their revolution, they both want to be in charge and they don't like each other. That's what I'm thinking is. But anyway. Chambers' attack appears to have been triggered by the Singham-aligned People's Forum choice to host an event with Kat Abungahazela. I know I'm not saying that right, but that's about as good as it's going to get. A former Media Matters journalist. I'm sorry. I just mentioned an oxymoron before, but that is even bigger, a bigger oxymoron. But I'm going to say it again. A Media Matters journalist turned congressional candidate. The event drew backlash from more militant aligned factions of the radical left. Radical activist Kala Walsh, a Chambers friend, has denounced Abu Ghazala, something or whatever, as a neocon over her support for arming Ukraine and Taiwan. So she's a neocon. Whatever the trigger, the break was a long time coming. According to Chambers, the roots of the conflict go back to October 7, 2023, Hamas terrorist attacks. Shortly afterward, Walsh, a 21-year-old DSA activist turned mouthpiece for America's adversaries, launched Palestine Action US with Chambers' support. The group is an offshoot of Palestine Action UK, a designated terrorist organization in Great Britain. Chambers claimed that senior Singham Network figures responded to the launch by discouraging direct actions, a movement euphemism for illegal vandalism, destruction, and force, targeting the Israeli defense firm Elbit Systems. Those figures allegedly urged Chambers and Walsh to travel to New York City for meetings aimed at persuading them to reconsider the campaign, including warnings to stop this direct action and go back to school. The effort failed, and Palestine Action US continued its direct action campaign and caused nearly $100,000 of damage at the Elbit facility. According to Chambers, Singham quietly instructed affiliates to distance themselves from Palestine Action, eventually creating Shut It Down for Palestine as the network-approved vehicle for pro-Palestine direct action. Chambers described the PSL leadership as having actively interfered, sought to control Palestine Action US, snuff it out, and hurt its reputation and isolate its actions. So they're kind of the Jets and the Sharks of Palestine Action. They both want the same turf, and they're fighting each other. If you understood my Jets and Shark reference, put a 1 in the chat. But this conflict has much less dancing. I'll just tell you that. So anyway, it's not clear why Singham's network, no stranger to radical action, tried to discourage attacking Elbit, but it is consistent with the network's longstanding view that revolutionary mass movements will fail unless they are guided by an educated vanguard, a strategy Chambers criticized as resulting in a vanguard party comprised of liberal arts theater kids. What do you mean, unfortunately? That's my favorite musical of all time, Tyre. The hell's wrong with you? Anyway, let's see. At the same time, the split between the far left's two most serious backers suggests Singham's network was not looking to collaborate, but to exercise centralized control over the whole of the extreme anti-Israel movement. Wow! Exercise centralized control. What is that? That's very fitting. The same tendency is apparent in Chambers' claims that the Singham's operation had previously courted him. In 2023, Chambers operated a commune-style activist compound in Massachusetts centered on political agitation, ideological training, and physical conditioning. Oh, like this. What is it? The Antifa super soldiers. an Antifa super soldier fort, in other words. He also financially supported a network of young militants that included figures such as Walsh. According to Chambers, Singham network-aligned figures proposed to use his property for a People's Forum training facility. Chambers said the proposal gave him insight into how Singham's network operates, especially after he reviewed a sketched organizational chart. That structure made it clear that regardless of the project, the PSL is at the center of the network, with each initiative ultimately designed to build the party. Neville Singham, too, appeared to exercise an iron grip on the network. While the network may rely on various public-facing figures and young adult activists for social media promotion, Chambers said Singham still advances a firm agenda and coordinates activity through private chats. The allegation leveled across Chambers' multi-day airing of dirty laundry paint a picture of the Singham network as focused on unifying the often fractious and disorganized radical left under the control of one man and one party. At the same time, they leave opponents of the Singham network with lots of questions. If not Chambers, then who else might have capitulated to their proposals? And under what terms? If the Party for Socialism and Liberation sits at the fulcrum of the Singham network's American arm, should lawmakers focus more closely on that organization? My answer to that is duh, yeah. Congressional scrutiny of the Singham Network has recently intensified. Several House committees have sought documentation from affiliate organizations. Lawmakers have also referred the People's Forum to the IRS, urging review and possible revocation of its tax-exempt status, and asked then Attorney General Pam Bondi to investigate Singham under the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The congressional inquiry is now underway, may help establish a public record concerning this influence network, but Singham's cooperation is unlikely since he lives in China. China is asshole! He can refuse cooperation indefinitely or simply wait out the current administration. More effective scrutiny would likely focus on the PSL's domestic infrastructure, especially insofar as it has involved a coordinating large-scale unrest. The PSL does not publicly disclose official membership figures. Well, that would be stupid because it'd be too easy to find them. But it claims to operate in over 50 cities. The party's financial structure is similarly opaque. Donations to the PSL are processed through Liberation News, the organization's official newspaper. That's what I bet they have a whole printing operation too. The organization also invests heavily in long-term physical infrastructure. Over the past several years, the PSL has established more than a dozen liberation centers in multiple American cities, including a soon-to-be-open facility in Washington, D.C. These centers function as hubs for protest coordination, coalition building, political education, and cadre development, whatever the fuck that is. Taken together, Chambers' allegations, this congressional inquiries, and the Singham Network's footprint raise a pointed question about the entire ecosystem. Is there a loose collection of allied organizations and projects, or a coordinated influence operation shaped by a small circle of confidants around Neville Royce Singham together, building a vanguard party? The evidence increasingly points towards the latter. In the course of public feuding, Chambers has also inadvertently drawn attention to the network's core organizing hub, the PSL, which he says ultimately anchors the broader system. If that is the case, government scrutiny should not be applied piecemeal across the broad array of peripheral organizations. It must reach the structure at the center of the system, where influence and coordination converge, and where critics, both left and right, argue real control ultimately lies. So, there you go. Cadre development sounds like a euphemism for building a cell. Yeah, it kind of does, doesn't it? So anyway, so it's interesting. This guy, I was going to say blabbing, but typing out his concerns probably draws a little additional scrutiny towards Neville Royce Singham, which is well deserved. All right, let's do a quick lightning round for what I have left and get the hell out of here. So let's start with this. This is just for the headline. This is for the Free Beacon. The headline is amazing. This may be one of the best headlines I've read in this short month, which would be starting today. Some journalists still unsure if Maureen Galindo, Democratic sex therapist who vowed to castrate Zionist pedophiles who worship Satan, is anti-Semitic. Politico, the New York Times, and others cite accusations of hateful rhetoric but have no problem calling out GOP racism. So, Maureen Galindo, the kooky San Antonio sex therapist and Democratic House candidate who lost a primary runoff this week after receiving the most votes back in March, made a series of comments most objective observers would describe as, well, anti-Semitic. But in light of Galindo's past remarks about the Jews who own Hollywood and worship Satan, not to mention her recently announced plans to establish a prison and castration processing center for American Zionists and other pedophiles, even some mainstream media outlets have conceded as much. Axios and This Is CNN described Galindo's comments about Jews as anti-Semitic. PBS observed that she had repeatedly expressed anti-Semitic views. Democratic politicians largely concurred. So wait, this means they're coming around now? Well, some aren't. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries blasted Galindo as the anti-Semitic and anti-American candidate. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez condemned Galindo for spouting bigoted garbage and endorsed her conservative pro-Israel Democratic opponent. County Sheriff Deputy Johnny Garcia, the endorsement did not sit well with anti-Semitic influencer Hassan Piker, who called it ridiculous. Oh, so Hassan Piker loves this lady. The point is, many outlets are refusing to label her when they would, in a heartbeat, label anyone on the right a racist or anti-Semitic or whatever. So anyway. Breitbart, 60-year-old woman fatally stabbed nearly 20 times on an Atlanta train. When she died in the attack, 11 alive, cited arrest warrants regarding the incident involving the suspect, 25-year-old John Elijah Matthews, who had been charged with an elderly woman's murder. The outlet reported Monday the brutal attack happened as the train was approaching Oakland City Station around 11:30 a.m. The suspect had the victim, Margaret Swan, reportedly did not communicate prior to the incident. Swan was sitting alone. However, Matthews approached the woman and allegedly took out a knife and cut her throat. Just random fucking violence. We don't need gun control. We need shithead control. So anyway, I don't know why I even opened that one. Nithya Raman is upset. She is upset that a homeless encampment staged near her home. Now, this is the same Nithya Raman. She's one of the mayor candidates in Los Angeles. She was upset about a homeless encampment outside her house. This is the woman who said that having an ordinance that would not allow a homeless encampment within 500 feet of a school was a bad thing. Like, well, what's the matter if they're 500 feet or 1,000 feet? It doesn't matter. Well, no, it's all started back in 2024 when the Democratic Socialist Council member attended a Sherman Oaks Homeowners Association debate while running for re-election. When asked about a law that would require homeless encampments to be at least 500 feet away from daycare centers and schools, she famously said that she had already voted against it because I don't think a kid is going to be safer because the tent is 500 feet away from the school. As the crowd booed, she arrogantly rolled her eyes and still somehow won re-election. So, over Memorial Day weekend, is this it?
These videos all over on social media, sparking debate over political protest and personal space. The videos now viewed hundreds of thousands of times online.
It's crazy.
Fake homeless encampments set up outside LA City Councilwoman and mayoral candidate Nithya Raman.
Wait a minute, I didn't realize they were doing this as a protest of her. They're setting up fake homeless encampments across the street from her house. That's hilarious. That's beautiful.
It's home. This is happening all over the city, and we brought it to her doorstep so she can see what other people are going through.
A man who claims he helped organize the stunt spoke exclusively with Fox 11 with his face covered.
All the political violence that's been going on is really important that people protect their identities.
Tents, trash, old tires, and a barbecue Monday morning, all outside Raman's home.
Basically doing a parody ad for her. Like if we were in charge of her campaign, this was the ad that we would make.
This is beautiful.
Yo, what's going on?
What he describes as a broader, sarcastic effort across Raman's Council District 4 in support of Spencer Pratt. Do you know Spencer Pratt, or are you affiliated with the Spencer Pratt campaign?
Absolutely never met him. Big fan of his work.
Who is funding this?
So we have a group of donors from around the country. Check us out online at Safe Cities USA.
Okay. Wait, let's see what she says.
My support has been growing.
At a press conference Thursday, Raman discussed a new UC Berkeley poll showing her in second place in the mayor's race, but did not address the videos.
I looked out the window and I realized that there were people setting up what was, I think, a fake encampment, like a homeless encampment outside of my house.
Earlier this week, though, she spoke about them on the Adam Conover podcast.
I have 2 little kids.
Yeah.
They didn't see it, luckily, this morning.
Oh, wait, you don't want your kids to see it? Luckily? Oh, luckily they didn't see it. Oh, my gosh. Wait, in human feces. The real homeless protest until they started hurling feces at her house.
But, I feel badly that
what?
That I'm even subjecting them to that at all. But but it has definitely, this has gone far beyond what I expected the campaign to be about.
They feel like this draws the line.
Yeah, I think that, it's a public street, and I can see where she's upset. But
oh my God, just the lack of self-awareness here is crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, not in my backyard. Anyway, you get the point. The article's there. Free Beacon. Graham Plattner admitted buying cocaine and boasted about doing drugs during military leave while on the government dime. Oh my God. This is the hits keep coming. And will Maine vote for this guy over Susan Collins? I mean, she's I mean, I get it. They've been gunning for Susan Collins for years, for, the last 5 elections. I think is this guy going to beat out Susan Collins? He's just got too much baggage, man. Maine Senate Democrat candidate Graham Plattner discussed buying cocaine in a now deleted Reddit post and admitted drug use and partying it up while backpacking during paid military leave. Plattner's post from 2020 recalls his travels through Europe just before leaving the Marine Corps in 2008. I was making a pretty penny doing just about nothing, went backpacking through Europe on a government dime, walked the Camino de Santiago, did some drugs, and had a blast partying it up in hostels across the continent, wrote Plattner, who posted on Reddit under the handle P-Hustle. Oh, just the hits keep coming for this guy. But hey, Sonny Hostin said you should still vote for him. Daily Wire. By the way, Janet Mills apparently reappears on the ballot. She says, I'm still on the ballot. Despite suspending her campaign, could Maine governor be positioned to challenge the embattled oyster farmer again? Maine Governor Janet Mills reminded Democratic voters that she hasn't actually left the Senate race, even as Democratic frontrunner Graham Plattner faces growing scrutiny over the latest controversy to engulf his campaign. The comments came from the oyster farmer whose insurgent campaign effectively pushed Mills out of the race earlier this year, but who now finds himself defending a fresh round of damaging headlines just days before Maine Democrats head to the polls. This is for the primary. So could Janet Mills end up being the candidate, the Democratic candidate? That would be amazing. I'd rather have Susan Collins runs against this jackass, though. People have the impression that I withdrew or dropped out, Mills told the Portland Press Herald in an interview Monday. I simply suspended active campaigning. I'm still on the ballot, suckers. I obviously added that. According to reporting from both the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, Platter admitted sending sexually explicit text messages to multiple women after marrying his wife, Amy Gertner, in 2023. While Plattner has disputed aspects of the reporting, his campaign has not denied the existence of the messages. Well, just release the messages then. So anyway, yeah, Janet Mills is like, just in case, I'm still here. Remember me? Also in the Daily Wire, Epstein-obsessed Democrats carve out exceptions for Graham Plattner. Again, like Sonny Hostin, many Democrats are like, well, he's just we need a studly man, a studly white dude for once, and so we're going to tolerate all the bullshit that this oyster farmer has been doing. So anyway, I don't need to read that article. In human events, Jill Biden's still out there. In her latest interview on CBS, she's still saying that, well, no, Joe was fine. So politicians are known for their attributes like honesty and trustworthiness, but sometimes even they can surprise me at how far they're willing to reinforce the cynicism. Take First Lady Jill Biden's latest interview with CBS this morning. One moment she tells host Rita Braver she did not think President Joe Biden was falling into cognitive decline during his time in the White House, despite information we now have that suggests he had been deteriorating mentally and physically. The two discuss the now infamous July 2024 debate between Biden and President Trump, in which Biden stumbles repeatedly, effectively ending his campaign. Quote, "Were you horrified as you saw it unfold?" Braver asked. "I wasn't horrified," Biden says. "I was frightened because I had never seen Joe like that before. Never before or since. Never." Oh, we saw it on a weekly basis, Jill. Later, Biden clarifies, as I watched it, I thought, oh my God, he's having a stroke. And that's a truly fascinating anecdote because I remember Biden visiting the Waffle House immediately after the debate, not a hospital or a physician, as one might do if a stroke seemed imminent. At a post-debate rally in Atlanta, Biden introduced the president on stage and praised him. Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the facts. You got a B- on the test. It was great. You did a great job. Okay, she didn't say that, but anyway, you get the point. She's full of shit. You can read the article yourself. Here's one. Oh, so this assisted suicide thing in Canada, my Canadian friends especially. What the fuck? Is it is it now like up to 15% of deaths in Canada are maids? Are maid deaths? Like maid is in the assisted suicide shit? And now, apparently, Canada's Dr. Death and Donuts practices at the same clinic as my family physician. My own child has been treated by him. Ooh, careful. The Double is a quintessential coffee order in the Great North. Every morning, Canadians go through drive-thrus at Tim Hortons, the coffee shop on virtually every street, and order it 2 creams, 2 sugars. But there's a new Double up north, Death and Donuts. The National Post reported this week that a London, Ontario doctor provided a euthanasia assessment outside at Tim Hortons, then drove the patient who suffered from inflammatory bowel disease and a history of mental health issues to the facility where the doctor ended his life. Like, what's with the same day fucking... What? You get the same day assisted suicide? How has that happened? How can you not have to go through at least some cognitive test and decision making and time to give you a chance to fucking change your mind? Holy shit. The National Post also reported that the same doctor, James McLean, breached protocols when he failed to give one of 3 drugs used in the cocktail that ends a patient's life. McLean didn't bring the neuromuscular blocking drug with him that paralyzes the body, including the muscles used to breathe. The patient resumed spontaneously breathing again after initially being pronounced dead and after McLean had already left the home. Oh my God. This story strikes close to home, quite literally. It's solely because I've lost family members to medical assistance in dying, which is MAID. Nor is it because doctors have offered MAID to members of my family who didn't request it and now fear the health center is meant to give them care. The reason the revelation of these horrors strikes so close to home is because McLean practices at the same clinic as my family physician. My own child has been treated by him at a walk-in clinic. Friends and family, including myself, receive primary care in the very location where he continues to work. It isn't some distant scandal. It's happening where my loved ones seek health and healing. People who could be one coffee or car ride away from an encounter with death. Are there any safeguards? Hello, Evan, by the way, and Mansquatch. Are there any safeguards in this anymore? It's crazy. I highly recommend you read the whole article, but for the sake of time, I'm not going to. Just if you're wondering, by the way, it is Pride Month, and the Trump administration has forgone the propaganda for another year. The Trump administration is giving the American people what they want in the lead up to the big 250th birthday celebration and ignoring Pride Month, a once unruly secular celebration beloved by the Biden administration and the radical left. Yes, where trans women can flash their fake titties at the cameras and shit. So there you go. And there's President Biden archive from whenever that was, June 1st, 2024. Happy Pride Month. U.S. Department of Education. Oh yeah, I guess they've not used every department in the government to put up pride stickers. These are all from 2024. Apparently, this administration has decided that they will celebrate it quietly. Daily Wire. But now on the other side of the spectrum, Mayor Mamdani says 1 month isn't long enough to celebrate queer and trans New Yorkers. Does he not know that there are 34 separate holidays for the LGBTQIA, MLS, PBS plus, LMNOP, 2S, extra sauce, and on a sesame seed bun crowd? Less than a day into Pride Month, Mayor Zohran Mamdani claimed 29 more days won't be enough to celebrate queer and trans-identifying New Yorkers. It would take far more than a month to honor the contributions of queer and transgender New Yorkers, Mamdani wrote Monday in an X post, and listed 4 related examples, including the drag balls of the Harlem Renaissance, a drag beauty pageant to celebrate. To my gay friends who are embarrassed by this shit, I understand. Even before Pride Month started, the Mamdani administration already made LGBTQ efforts the focal point of the mayor's term. In March, Mamdani created the mayor's Office of LGBTQIA plus Affairs and appointed a trans-identifying man who goes by Taylor Brown to oversee the department leadership. I'm sure his Muslim brothers are not happy with that shit. Or is this just a smokescreen? I don't know. Anyway, there's an article about all the other shit he's done. Fuck it, I don't care. And then again, 2 years into Trump 2.0, corporate America's Pride Month looks different. Now, this is interesting. It's not as, it is out there, but not as much as it has been in the past. For years, Pride Month gave companies an opportunity to launch elaborate marketing campaigns celebrating LGBTQ plus communities. But 2 years into President Donald Trump's second term, much of corporate America's enthusiasm appears to have undergone a pride pivot. Now, look, there's, again, I'm hearing more and more gay people who are just saying, you know what, this shit's gone too far. It's not too much, the pride parades with, people shaking their dicks at kids and whatever. Just they're like, that's not what we're here for. During the Biden administration, Target's annual Pride collection was a centerpiece of its June marketing strategy, dominating store displays and the company's homepage while generating extensive influencer promotion online. In 2026, however, Target's homepage focuses on Father's Day gifts and 4th of July merchandise. Yeah! Do something for the dads! With Pride products playing a far less visible role. Walmart has taken a similar approach. The retail giant withdrew its sponsorship from Stonewall Columbus Parade of 2025 and scaled back its Pride-related inventory in 2026. Amazon has also appeared to be taking a quieter approach. While the company previously used its social media platforms to celebrate Pride Month, it has yet to make a comparable public declaration in 2026. Few companies have experienced a more dramatic shift than Anheuser-Busch. 3 years after partnering with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, the company is promoting patriotic packs that support military and first responder families through donations to Folds of Honor. So, yeah, they took a beating on Bud Light, which was the #1 selling beer in America, until they did that bullshit. And look, I don't give a shit that Dylan Mulvaney was. Well, at least I do. I'm like, why? Is that the giant market for Bud Light? Transgender women? Half of 1/1000% of the population? Anyway, so several companies have lightened up, but not Sesame Street. Because when you're, making a show for children, you better bring up sexuality and gender confusion. So anyway. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm thinking maybe, just maybe, I need to get some other shit done before my surgery tomorrow. I have to be there at 6 a.m. So I'm going to call it a day. I do want to thank you, of course, for being here. Again, I'll return for sure Monday, but I'm not so sure about maybe Friday is a possibility, or maybe I'll just do a live stream Q&A stream, strictly that. We'll see how I'm feeling. I should be fine. Ice packs and oxycodone does wonderful things for you. So we'll see what happens. But if I can, I'll be here Friday. If not, I will certainly be back on Monday. So I hope you all have a great rest of your week. Have a great weekend. Look forward to see you next Monday and possibly Friday. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. Gotta go. My name's PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. I'm thanking everyone who's given me well wishes in the text too. See you later. Bye-bye. Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterward so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through the Streamlabs link, which is also in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.